Excuse me, good evening and welcome to the October 13th, 2020 meeting of the Norwood Trails Committee. Could I ask you folks, if you wouldn't mind, if you could mute your phones for now? Thank you. We're here October 13th, 2020. We've got a packed house, which is great. This is the bi-weekly meeting, semi-monthly meeting of the Norwood Trails Committee. We are a Trails Advisory Committee. We're advising and making sometimes reservations, but usually recommendations to the town manager, Tony Mazzucco, as well as working closely with the Conservation Commission, the DPW, Planning and Economic Development, and basically anybody that we can communicate with. We do have a number of folks on board tonight. Thank you all for coming. And I am going to just ask by way of a roll call, and I'll go my left to right if it's okay. I'll just ask you to weigh in and give your usual greeting, whatever that might be. We are, just for the record, our meeting is being taped by Norwood Community Media. All those meetings are taped and available by stream. And Masha, you want to weigh in?
Hey there, I'm here, Marsha Mata.
Great, Masha Mata. Sue Bartlett?
Here.
Great, thank you. Harry Miller?
Here.
Yes. Fran Rush?
Yep, I'm dialed in.
Great. Hey, Fran. Brian Palmatier?
Here.
Yes, thank you. Vic Babel?
Here.
Marguerite Krepp?
Here.
Craig Austin? Patty?
Here.
Patty Austin?
Here.
Hello.
Oh, is she a member of the committee now too? That'd be good.
He's a welcome,
Dynamic duo.
he's a welcome member. Lee Leach, maybe?
I'm here, also known as caller 03.
Number three.
Oh, that's who 03 is.
Number three, but number one in your hearts. We also have Kate. Are you out there somewhere? Nope. Okay, and I'm Joe Greeley. We do have a couple of other, did I miss anyone?
Hey Joe,
I'm sorry, who?
hey Joe, it's Roy. I'm somehow listed as Claudia, but I can assure you it is Roy.
Okay, great. We did invite two invited guests tonight. We'll get to that in a minute. Lee, would you like to just give us a quick update? I know the minutes, although our meetings are taped, we are in the process of catching up on minutes. So Lee, can you give us a quick update on that?
Sure. I don't have any minutes tonight to review, but I did spend a little bit of time just trying to sort out where everything is relative to what's posted on the website and what's available on demand at Norwood Community Media. So I'm going to progress with those, but as I do, I will send them out to Joe, and for each meeting, I think it's appropriate, Joe, that you would then forward them to the members who participated in that particular meeting that the minutes are for.
Okay, yeah, good suggestion. Thank you. All right, great. We do have one of two esteemed guests tonight. I did have a couple of discussions with our new conservation agent, Holly Jones, and Holly has graced us with her presence tonight. Thank you for coming, Holly.
I am happy to be here.
Great, thank you. Not to be confused with Heather Jones, which I made a typo on the agenda. So I'm sorry, Holly. You are truly Holly. So we're gonna roll right in. I'll ask Holly to introduce herself and give us a Reader's Digest version, basically, of what why she's landed here in Norwood and what she hopes to accomplish and what in what ways we can help her, and then we'll turn the tide and we'll give her our scoop as well. So Holly, the floor is yours.
Okay. So not too much to add. Holly Jones. I am the conservation agent and environmental planner for Norwood. I am coming to Norwood from having worked for 2 years as the conservation agent in Uxbridge, and I am happy to be in Norwood. I came largely because of the different philosophies in town government. This is my dog Tigger. So the last place I've hiked is Mount Wachusett. And when I was a fun fact about me, when I was a teenager, I spent several years doing trail crew. So a lot of experience making trails, and I'm excited to work with you all. My internet connection is pretty shoddy, so I'm going to keep my camera off for most of this meeting.
Okay, great. Thanks, Holly. Any first, you've been on hand for what, 3 weeks now?
Oh gosh, 5 weeks. So
Wow.
I'm an old hand.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah.
Any first impressions that you feel like sharing, or do you want to keep those private?
Well, I guess, I am thrilled that Norwood has a committee like this, and that the committee seems to have the support of the town manager, and has so many exciting projects planned. So that's an impression. But yeah, I still haven't seen much of Norwood. So Joe has been showing me some of the best trails. So I'm very appreciative of that.
Okay, great. Welcome. Thanks, Holly.
Yeah, thank you all.
Welcome.
Anyone have any recommendations for Holly on what she should do for the rest of her next 45 years here in Norwood? I'll just throw it open, but if anybody has any kind of one or two recommendations for Holly as far as conservation, land conservation, areas, things to do in Norwood, etc., favorite trails, any ideas?
No, just welcome. I think it's a good town that really everybody comes together if you have a project. So Joe sort of got this thing going, and a lot of people just jumping on the bandwagon because they think it's a worthwhile project to get involved with. So welcome. You're going to enjoy it.
Thank
Holly,
you.
this is Lee. I just wanted to also express my welcome to you. I know so a little bit about conservation myself, being a former member, but just could you just go over, I'm curious about other adjoining towns' conservation agents and how you might interact with those, because we've had some discussions in our committee relative to interconnecting trails with adjoining towns, so that we can take best connections, advantages to resources in our adjoining towns. And we've established a very close workingship, particularly with the Walpole Trails Committee. So could you just sort of express how, sort of what relations or if and have worked with some of the other conservation agents in the other adjoining towns? And I think that would be very beneficial to some of the work that the Trails Committee has in front of them.
I think that's a great idea. I don't know them yet. So if you know them, I'd welcome the introduction, but definitely excited to reach out for any particular projects. I know that the former agent is on the commission in Walpole, so that makes sense to hear you say that you worked closely together. So hopefully that connection still exists, even though the position may have changed hands.
And I would
So-
just add too that this is Sue, by the way. I'm on the committee. I went to a conference maybe about a year and a half ago with Joe, and we went and there was a presentation by a group that like administered a lot of grants, and a lot of what they said was they were going to give preference to projects that would go between towns and stuff. So just to back up what Lee said, that it seemed like that they'd make those more a priority for grant money, more so even than just something that's just within the town of Norwood. So.
I would say just get out and walk some of the trails that we have the maps online. They don't require any great endurance, or a lot of them don't require a whole lot of time, because if you're working a 40-hour week, then you're pretty busy. But get out and just see what we have around. Pick a trail, scan through the maps, and see what we've got. And if you see any of us out there, say hello.
All right, great. I see
Can you
Kate has-
explain the role of a conservation agent?
Yeah. I have two hats, so conservation agent and environmental planner. And I think conservation agents usually end up being environmental planners anyway. But primarily my role is to be the professional support for the Conservation Commission. So just like the planning board has, a planner and an assistant planner who support them, and also work on other projects independently of them. I review projects for the Conservation Commission. I conduct inspections and issue permits to make sure that folks are following their wetlands-related permits and not committing wetlands violations. And I am a resource for residents of Norwood who want to do projects near wetlands or wetland resource areas, about how to go about them and how to go about permitting. And then I also work on stewarding the conservation land. So that's the area where my role really overlaps with the Trails Committee quite a bit. Because I'm excited about increasing recreational opportunities on the land that is owned and stewarded by the Norwood Conservation Commission. And then some, I think there's assorted other environmental related projects that, I may get pulled into that are more or less related to those duties. For example, in Uxbridge, I worked quite a bit on the MVP grant. So in Norwood, we shall see what different projects I get pulled into. I'm learning a bit about the stormwater permitting for Norwood, which is also something I'm kind of nerdy about and excited for. So a bunch of different hats. So that's fun for me.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds great. Holly, we will definitely put you to work. Holly and I are our next up is a walk on down at Ellis Field, down by Ellis Nursing Home and the Codman Street. Holly's interested in planting Field Brook and how it miraculously goes into the ground at the at the Forbes Mansion, and all of a sudden it pops out in Ellis Field. So that's the amazing part of municipal design. So, well, that's great. The one other thing that Holly has mentioned, but Holly's going to be very much involved with the Saint Street lot design and the preliminary work going into the Saint Street project. So we're looking forward to watching you work your magic and helping in any way we can. We also are hopeful that we can start early and get in line and be successful with a Mass Trails grant, which is typically the end of February. So hoping to beef up our grant writing capabilities this year coming up.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Okay, good. Great. Well, Holly, you can, thank you for joining. We look forward to working with you. If people in the community have any questions or needs, or they just want to get in touch with you, how would they get in touch with you directly?
My email address is the easy one to remember, is just conservation@norwoodma.gov. Or you can call town hall and tell them to send you through to me. Or my extension is 6065. So absolutely feel free to reach out.
Great. Great, thank you. Welcome aboard.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, feel free.
Good luck.
You and your pup can you and your pup can stay for the rest of the evening if you want, or you can go on to Plan B. But we appreciate your visit. Thank you.
Thank you, Holly.
I'm just going to juggle the part of the agenda. As we've all discussed a couple of times, we have another esteemed guest and accomplished hiker in our midst. We wanted to do proper recognition to Lee Leach for his recent accomplishment of hiking the full hiking of the Appalachian Trail. And Lee, how far that's like 25 miles, isn't it? The Appalachian Trail? How long is that?
I thought it was at least 27, wasn't it?
It's only a couple of days walk.
Yeah. It's just a walk in the woods.
And you stretched it into how many years, Lee?
Oh, Vic, come on.
Oh, come on.
Wow, it's an accomplishment.
Yeah. We think it's
Oh yeah. It's been something that has been percolating in my psyche for about 25 years. Actually, the very first section I hiked on it was in 1990, and believe it or not, when I completed the section hike this year, that was over 30 years. But I didn't really hike much between 1991 and 2009. So most of it actually was done over maybe 3 or 4 seasons, 09, 2010, 2015, and this year. So yeah, it was
Congratulations.
I know, Vic, you were there on my send-off party in 09, and I think, Roy, you were there too. Yeah, when this is all over, we'll all get together and we'll have a proper celebration.
Congratulations.
yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Um,
Very impressive, Vic.
We've
Very
never-
impressive, Lee.
We've never been good at patience. So we're actually not going to wait for that event. Lee, we just wanted to toast you right now. So on behalf of the members of the Norwood Trails Advisory Committee, we could all raise a glass of our favorite apple juice or water and or whatever. And toast to Lee.
Cheers.
Yes,
Cheers.
congratulations.
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 Great job. Great job, Lee.
Excellent.
Great job. Milk.
Thank you all for that. I appreciate it. I will definitely put this in the minutes.
Absolutely.
And it's Mott's Apple Juice, MOTTS.
You can't see what Vic's drinking though.
Water.
Homemade unfermented grape juice.
Water.
Coincidentally, his video is off. Great job, Lee. We're proud of you. And you've also recently completed the Bay Circuit Trail. So there's another, 280 miles-ish? I think.
But that was definitely a day hike.
Everything's relative.
Just a drop in the bucket. I will post something in a minute, but so congratulations, Lee. We're glad that you made it back, and we're glad that you're here with us tonight. So great news. We're waiting to hear what's next for you.
I think
So
Long
we go
Trail
right
next.
into Long Trail. It's good. It's good. I'm going to go right into the next item on the agenda, the trail reports. We've just come off a long weekend. We just turned the page from Columbus Day, or whatever you might want to call Columbus Day. Does anybody have any? I should mention, we wanted to thank Sue Bartlett for her
Glasses.
expertise and pulling together those toast glasses. They're all a gift from Sue and the Trails Committee. So thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks,
thank
Sue.
you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Sue. I appreciate
The donation to the AMC, so in Lee's name, so it's a donation in his name to the Appalachian Mountain Club.
That's great.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's great. Thank you.
Thank you, Sue. Appreciate.
Okay.
We have, we're surrounded by givers and do-gooders, so thank you, Sue. So moving right along to the trail reports, does anyone have any recent and local trail reports to discuss, or things that you took back from a local trail? Craig?
Local meaning Norwood or area Norwood?
Preferably Norwood, but local within, let's say within an hour's drive for someone in our community that wanted to go on a walk.
An hour, that's all. You can
Hello,
go-
Wood.
I did
How
a
about you?
nice one. I think it was Sunday. It was so windy.
Vic, time out. Vic, hang on a sec. Hey, Vic?
Yeah.
Hang on a sec. You can be up right after Patty, but I'm going to call on Craig first.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't hear.
Craig?
Who do you
nope,
want then?
Take,
So I sent you the report just at the opening minutes there, so.
Thank you.
We continued our quest to try to walk to every park from our house. So we went to Ellis Pond and we hit the major access points, including Guile Pond. And we walked up to Nichols Street and then down Nichols to first Guile Pond. Then we actually made it to Timothy's and looked from the access point there. And we walked back, visiting Nichols Street entrance, and then walked around Willett Parkway and went in that access to the dam. And then from there, we went to the lower pond grassy area, and then back home. The whole trip was, we calculated, about 6 miles, so it was a good trip.
great.
Things looked pretty good overall. I saw, most stuff was mowed or trimmed. Probably could use a little more trimming at Guile Pond. There's an awful lot of vegetation on the embankment. And at the end where the water is eroded through. Nichols looked pretty good. There seemed to be some extra wood chips or something at the end by the pond. Ellis Pond Dam, there was a photo shooting going on. Yeah, that's the Nichols Street path. And let's see. And in Lower Pond, we noticed that there was a new concrete pad on toward Endicott. I guess is that where they're building the pavilion?
That is where they're building the pavilion, yes.
We didn't go there.
Okay,
But yeah, all in all, things look pretty good on the trails and in the parks.
okay, great.
Want to add anything?
No,
Yeah.
just that there had been a really scary widowmaker on one of the parts near Father Max, but one of those windstorms took it down. It looked like it had been cleaned up, so it feels better walking there now.
Okay, great, great. While you say that about blowdowns and trees, down trees and hazards, just for the community's info, we have encountered, partially due to the drought this year and windstorms, recent windstorms and microbursts, we have seen a lot of trees down across town all summer long. But the DPW especially has been great and very responsive. So just a shout out to the DPW crews, Mike Driscoll, Mark Ryan, and everybody on the DPW for that. These pictures are great, Craig. Thank you. I'll scroll through them as we keep going here tonight. Vic, I cut you off. Where have you been lately?
Actually, I was up in New Hampshire a couple weeks ago, but last weekend I was going to go biking, and it was so windy Sunday. I said, "Where's a good path to go that it would be protected from the wind?" And actually, if you go down the expressway to that, what's it, Pope John Park? But
23rd, yes. Yeah.
for your old timers, it was a drive-in theater, and for your real old timers, it was a dump. But if you start there and head your way up toward Mattapan, actually, there's a trail that goes all the way to Mattapan Center. It's paved. We were biking, and it's beautiful. It's an abandoned railroad track. It's not that crowded, and that was Columbus Day weekend, so it should have been crowded. It wasn't that crowded. There was a lot of people walking too, but it is paved, but it's a beautiful area, heavily wooded. You never know you're in the city. And for biking, it was about probably half hour, 45 minutes. Walking is probably an hour and a half back and forth. But it's a different one. It's close enough, and it's beautiful there. They have a beautiful bridge over the Neponset River, and it follows the Neponset River also.
Okay. And how was parking, Vic?
Well, there's usually plenty of parking that, at the park there. They have quite a few spaces there for parking. But it's
Where exactly? I'm a little confused on where exactly it is. Like,
so if you came to the what is it, the Pope John or Pope Pius or something park that's right off the expressway by Dorchester.
oh,
Right by
okay.
Neponset,
Okay.
right by
Okay.
Neponset.
Yeah, yes, right by the
Oh, okay.
Street.
Okay.
If you get there, then you go under the expressway, and then you head by that, I think it's called the Keystone Building, which is used to be a Keystone Camera, but now it's a home for the aged. You follow that path, and then you cross the street where that anybody familiar with the drawbridge there?
Right.
And then you go across there, and pretty much you go right into the woods and about 200 yards. And the first part is open. You see the Neponset River, all the the overflow area, and then you go into the woods, and it's a good wide path. And the Neponset River's on your right, and it's pretty interesting watching the that old orange line, those trains from the 40s or whatever, still running, and the track is right beside you at some point. and they don't run that frequently, but it's a beautiful scenery. And then you go underneath Dorchester Lower Mills, and this place is there if you want to go. And there's a brewery right after that, that if you wanted to go, you could go there. And it ends up with a bridge that goes over the depot of the Orange Line in Mattapan. And we didn't go any further than that, but I believe it connects to another path after that. But it's a beautiful trail, especially at this time of the year because of the foliage. Just starting to turn now, but it's very wooded, and you know, enough people walk it, you feel safe, and it's like I said, it's asphalted, but it's an excellent condition, whether biking or walking. A lot of walkers do.
Okay.
Thank
great.
you.
Thanks.
Okay.
Anybody else have a recent they want to share?
About a week ago, I was up at Shattuck Park and we walked through there with my dog, you know, just a easy walk. And it was absolutely beautiful. And the trails are in great shape. And as I was coming out and near the intersection of Shattuck Park Road and Bellevue Avenue, somebody had left a poop bag right beside the trail. And I thought, oh, come on. You know, you made it that far. Couldn't you carry it just a little further, another 20 feet?
It's a
But,
rare,
Hmm?
rare when you don't see a poop bag.
Well, you know, they'd be better off if they didn't put it in the bag, for crying out loud.
I know.
But other than that, it was a lovely time. So, and as usual, that white truck that takes up one of the few parking spaces was plunk right in the middle of the parking area. So,
Oh, I
There you
see
go.
that all the time. Yeah.
yep.
Yeah, that is unfortunate. There's only maybe four parking spots there, and that white truck is always there. So
Usually followed by a black car.
I know the high school students, I've seen a few of them park there
okay.
because they'll come by and grab their car, you know, after school.
I think it's probably the nursing home on Nickel Street. Because they had to move the other side of Shattuck Park to that side because the neighbors were complaining so much.
That's a long walk.
Well, they didn't have a choice. They were parking right in front of the Shattuck Park,
Yeah.
on the Nickel Street side, and they took in all those spaces there, so the town made them change.
Uh,
So I assume that that's where they're from.
No, that's not the nursing home.
Oh, it isn't?
Oh, it's somebody lives
It's
right.
the guy
along
that lives in that house. That's
Oh, the house.
Yep. Anybody else have any other
there. Yeah, I got
observation, Jerry?
yeah, we went to the Honey Pot Farm, apple picking.
Oh, that's fun.
Literally thousands of people there. We trekked all the way through from the parking lot all the way up to into the entrance, and then we were told we had to have reservations. And everybody was coming in waves, and we were trying to figure it out. So, 200 cars would come in at a certain time, and then there would be a break for an hour, then another 200 cars would come in. So we weren't allowed to go in. So we did walk around over there. And then we went through Wayland on the way back, and we talk about the destruction. There was in one cemetery we happened to go by, there was 39 trees went down in that cemetery. So there was
Wow.
a big line of wind that just, and so I knew about that because I was there the day before, but we saw numerous trees in Wayland that were all knocked down. They really got hit. So, little aside.
Yeah, certainly recently those storms have really kicked up. Okay, great. Anybody else? And Jerry, are you feeding the committee with apple pie anytime soon?
No, remember we didn't get in.
Oh, okay. Just
We
checking.
did buy the apples. We bought some apples anyways, and Paula made apple crisp. And I'm not sharing that with you. I'm sorry, Joe.
Yeah, well,
We went to Honey Pot
Joe,
too,
good luck,
actually.
Nick.
Joe, to follow up with Shattuck Park I was there today, and it looks very good. I know we're gonna discuss going there to do a cleanup, but the only thing I noticed is there are a lot of trees down, but nothing in the way of the trail. But there are just a lot of with the last few storms, I've seen a lot more kind of collected. So potentially with our cleanup, we could, not a priority, but we could take some of the larger ones and pile them maybe in one section, and that way DPW could get them. But yeah, it looked good. Like I said, minus the glass that we definitely need to clean up.
Okay, all right, more to follow. Thanks, Marcia.
This is Fran. I just did Bird Park. There's one takeaway is there's so many little trails left and rights. It would have been nice if there was just like some kind of marker dots, because you're trying to maximize your walk and you're just turning, just trying to keep walking and walking. But so I was thinking, like, when we have Endine, getting back to marking that so you can try to get, maximize your loop.
Sure.
Fran, thanks for the feedback, as I'm on the Friends of Bird Park, and I'll pass that word along. I know there is a map that's available at the kiosk sometimes, but sometimes the kiosks, little map dispensers are empty. So one of the
There was
big
maps,
things,
yeah.
one of the big things they're at now is they lost several trees in various storms, and they're trying to replace them. They have a tree drive on, so they're hoping to get some trees that are not little tiny ones, but that give some indication of the character of the place. So it's an ongoing project, and I appreciate the feedback. I'll pass it along.
I'm just going to jump in and just show you one thing. Lee had completed this. Can everybody see that map? Anyway, Lee had done this walk before. He's labeled this as the farm to farm walk. So Lee and I did about 10 miles, just over 10 miles on Sunday. And we started at Jarvis Farm and right by McMorgan's and Route 1 on Common Street. Kind of, as you can see, we kind of wound our way. We crossed Washington Street through the Walpole Town Forest, and we did a little bit of right where the word Walpole is. We had to go onto some street paths, but basically most of this was through the woods. I'd say probably 8.5 miles of the 10 were in the woods. So it was definitely a great walk. It would have taken Lee like two hours, but it actually, because I was there, it took about 4.5. But it was a great walk. I think if we cut it into segments, I think this would be a good walk to do in conjunction with the Walpole Trails Committee. We did see a number of trees down in that area, mostly up in the northern section close to Adams Farm. So Lee had reported those today to the Walpole Trails Committee. There were probably, Lee, correct me if I'm wrong, but I would guess that there were at least 25 to 30 trees down over the course of these 10 miles.
Yeah, Joe, that was probably a really big microburst in the forest, right near the power line on the Bay Circuit Trail. Right before we came out of the Bay Circuit Trail, you come out onto a power line that's up near High Street. Near the end of our walk, we went from Jarvis going north up to Adams. But I just I sent an email to Gary Riggett yesterday, and he reported back that they were actually there yesterday, opening that up again. So it is completely open now. So the blowdowns have been cleared, which that's just a great effort by Gary and another fellow there that lives close to that section where the blowdowns are. So yeah, it's we did mostly Bay Circuit Trail. That's mostly Bay Circuit Trail, about a little more than 7 miles of it, and then the end of it is a little bit over 2 miles in the Adams Farm trail system.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, it's pretty flat. There are some ups and downs, mostly like eskers, that kind of walking. But it's also used by some of it is also used by trail bikes. So we saw a few of those when we were out too.
Great. I'm definitely not as good as Sue Bartlett is as multitasking and screen sharing. You probably saw this one. Where'd it go? Now that I've lost it again. There it is. You probably saw that one, but it took me a couple of minutes to find it. But that's our friend Lee Leach finishing his Appalachian Trail walk. So you may have heard Katahdin. There was an accident up on Katahdin recently. I don't know if anybody's heard of it, but luckily our man Lee did not have any problems. So Lee, we do have this picture in a frame. We'll have to get it to you soon.
Thank you.
Well done.
We also, just moving along, we had the trail cleanup at Hennessy on September 26th. Sue, Craig, Kate, do you want to anybody want to weigh in on that?
I've got some pictures too. I don't know how to send them to you, but.
Okay. Brian, do you know how to screen share? Do you know how to do that?
Let me see.
You keep finding that and I'll just ask.
All right, I'll look around here.
Okay.
Oh, it has a little screen button at the bottom, but mine is blacked. Mine is grayed out, like it's not inactive.
Okay, so try
Do I
now.
need to get permissions or something?
These. Try now.
Webcam closed by organizer.
Try that. Nothing personal.
Well, while you're doing that, I'll say, like, I think it was an awesome idea to do the cleanup. Thank you, Kate, for coming up with the idea. And I think the next time I take part in it, I learned a lot about how to pick up glass and the best way to do it and what tools to use. So I think we learned a lot from that one outing. And I think next time, I know I'll try and do a better job at picking it up. But yeah, I mean, it was definitely a needed excursion once we got there. I had never seen that until it was definitely worth our time to do it. So thanks, Kate, for suggesting it.
Yeah, I appreciate everybody coming to do the cleanup. It's hard to envision all that glass when you haven't seen it for yourself. So I think we should probably make a little note of the best glass picking up strategies. I like Bob Donnelly had his long grabber, right? He was like picking up one shard at a time. That was effective. So trying to figure out the best way to do it in the future. I know it's something we'll have to do again. So just thinking about, somebody else mentioned broken glass on another trail as well. So I think it's something we should look into, of best ways we could try to clean up glass. Again, trying to promote the trails for young families. Just trying to make sure that it's safe for them when they do go out.
Yeah, that little like hand rake you had was really good. Like that kind of something like that.
Brooms or something would be really helpful. So.
And then bringing like more buckets too. Like the buckets were good. So.
Yeah, I feel like I haven't had a chance to go back to Hennessy since we did the cleanup. I just have been really busy with work. But has anybody had a chance to go back? I'm hoping to get there. It rained today. I was hoping to go for a walk, but I can try and go this week just to see how all our work is looking.
Yeah, I have not been there.
Well, that night we heard fireworks. Luckily, it was only just one set of bottle rockets, I think it was, or maybe Roman candles. I didn't see any evidence afterwards, but there were quite a few cigarette butts where I thought it was. So I think it was a pass through.
Yeah.
If only a no smoking and no glass bottle sign would be effective.
Well, if you need a bucket for this kind of operation, you don't have to go and buy them. The delis around some of the restaurants that serve things like coleslaw that comes in buckets usually have buckets they would be happy to get rid of. So if you frequently patronize, for example, the Lunchbox Deli on the highway, ask whether they have any available.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Sounds good.
Kate,
Um,
Kate, the idea of a broom, I think I wasn't there with you folks. I apologize. I wish I was. I was in New Hampshire. But I just from my experience of cleaning things in my yard when I'm having the dogs and stuff around, the brooms are very effective and with a shovel, like a big, large snow shovel and a broom, or a fine rake, so you can get rid of the stuff you want to leave there and get those bigger pieces of glass and then use the broom. Even if you're taking up a lot of the dirt, it's good because most likely it's probably loaded with glass underneath. We're going to need to definitely talk about, or people come up with the best ideas for the cleanup at Shattuck, because again, it's glass. It's not, I don't believe from what I've seen, nearly as bad as Hennessy was, but it's there, and it can be, we might find, a lot worse than I am anticipating.
And Shattuck is also a lot bigger than Hennessy. So I'd be curious about what section, like for Hennessy, all the glass was congregated up at the top by that really large rock formation. So I'll do a walk through Shattuck to see what it looks like. I agree.
It's just up this, it's very similar, and it's actually less area. It's just the area kind of in the middle of the park, the most amount of rocks. That is primarily the area. The other, most of the other places are fine. And then there's that one other small rock to the far side, closer to Nichols. But I didn't see a lot of glass there. It's primarily that main center, and it's, it's there. It's embedded in, but it's not any very, very little glass on the trails themselves.
Gotcha.
Elsewhere other than the rocks.
Mm-hmm. And we had talked about someone mentioned offhand the idea of a garbage can. I know that wouldn't impact the glass. Like, people are going and breaking bottles. That's their prerogative. Like, that's their activity. But to Marguerite's point about dog poop, just thinking about where there are trash cans placed, if there are at the entrances of the trails. I know at Hennessy there is a trash can at each end, which is great. I just don't remember I haven't looked for trash cans at the other places because I am not taking things on the trails with me that I would need to throw away, and I don't have a dog. So just thinking about, if adding trash cans strategically would be helpful,
So the negative of that, Kate, and I have dogs and I'm always with dogs. The negative of it is I would love to be able to throw my dog's poop into the garbage, but the negative is the town now or somebody has to pick those up, versus when I have my own dog bag and I have to leave with it, I do leave with it. So let's just say I'm saying that I think most dog walkers, if they put it in a bag, they either leave it behind accidentally, and I'll speak from, I've done that before, or they're going to take it home with them. If you put a garbage can there, we just have to make sure that we know that someone's going to have to clean it up, and it will be full. And it, that's the only other thing.
Yeah.
And what
Unless
it'll
you
be
did it
full
like-
of is the question, because it
Well,
won't just be the.
unless we
picnic
did
place.
it could be anything. Unless
Yeah.
we did a garbage can. What about the idea of putting a garbage can that's that gets an actual garbage stop? If you put out like a regular garbage can, like we would at our front steps, our yards, and have that be a stop where every week it gets dumped. We're talking like 1 or 2 cans throughout the town, or you're not adding a lot to that maybe expense if they were to pick up something like that.
Yep. Jerry?
There's a route the DPW goes on every day. They have to pick up the trash barrels and the bags all around the town, and they hit everywhere from the playgrounds to the parks to the downtown center. So they'll just be just added to the route, but they're pretty good about, they go every day. Every single day they're out, they do the same route.
Yeah, so just thinking strategically, if it's something that we, again, I'm not looking at the garbage aspect when I'm walking. So if other people have thoughts on if there is one spot we could add a can that would be helpful, great. If there's, if it's something that wouldn't make sense and we feel people would just be dumping, I know that's a big concern too, is we don't want people to just take their garbage to the park. But, just something that might be helpful that DPW could pick up, as needed.
Right.
I think it's a good idea. I mean, we can always try it if the DPW is willing to pick up, and if it doesn't work and we're getting a bunch of things we don't, like you said, dumping in there and it's getting full and overloaded and looks terrible, then won't be able to do it. But yeah.
Yeah. Just, I don't remember a trash barrel at Shattuck, but I know
No.
Kate's point about Hennessy, there's a barrel at either end, and they are on a regular route from the DPW, and the DPW is there, as Barry said, periodically and frequently. I do think, just looking at some of the trash that we pulled out of Hennessy, there were at least 8 to 10 full garbage cans, and unfortunately I can't open the pictures, but Craig took a number of pictures that showed a lot of the glass. I would imagine that a lot of that glass has been there for years. So I think, maybe if we just did one more cleanup at Hennessy in the spring, and then just try to reinforce, especially with the neighbors in the community, that, this isn't someplace just to shoot off bottle rockets. It's a resource that we all need to use. So,
I grew up in that neighborhood, and I remember going up there as a kid in the 50s and seeing the glass everywhere. So that glass has been there for a long time.
I think we found that same glass. It's like sea glass at this point. Yeah.
Right, that's what it is.
Big
Um,
improvement
What,
in the
any green pieces?
Yeah. I don't know if I can show this, but I do want to put in
Oh, good.
our 2 cents for the sign that Sue and Masha had developed. Masha went out and purchased these signs. Thank you, Masha. As you can see on the bottom here, the date and the time and the location are blank. So what we did at Hennessy, we'll do that again. Masha got, what, 7 or 8 of these signs, Masha?
I think 5.
Okay, and they're double-sided. But we'll be able to reuse these signs. We do have the lawn election campaign metal stands for them. So we'll be able to use these again. Before we close out tonight, we'll schedule and confirm our next one, our next cleanup. And we're just gonna set up the same guidelines. Now that we're masters at picking up glass, unfortunately, we can try to do it in a better way. Obviously, we don't want anybody to get injured, but if we can pick up the majority, we'll never get to the fine tooth comb. But if we can pick up even 75% of the glass, it's that many fewer accidents that kids or pets or anybody's going to have. So it's all good stuff. So.
I love those signs. Is there a way I could borrow one for our Adams Farm meeting coming up next week?
Yeah.
Who's that talking? Who's talking?
Oh, hey, it's
Yeah,
Roy.
who is that mystery
Vic,
man?
Oh, come
no,
on,
I couldn't.
Vic.
I couldn't
Come
tell.
on.
I have one on my front porch, 2 of them still. If anyone wants to just take them.
Yeah, Roy, I think these would be great for Adams. I know whenever, I didn't do it on Sunday, but typically whenever I go someplace for a hike and I bring my backpack, I always have either a poop bag or an empty, like a shopping bag, plastic shopping bag. So, for a modest fee, we'll be able to, exactly, Marguerite. For a modest fee, maybe Masha will be able to share the design with you.
Hey, that sounds good. That sounds good.
But I wanted to thank everybody for your participation in Hennessy. Bob Donnelly he's not on with us tonight, but he did a great job, as did Brian. Your wife and your son did a great job of helping out, and we appreciate that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Does everybody know Roy?
Hi.
Roy, I should have done that before. Can you give us a 30-second intro to Roy?
Yeah, let me get my webcam going here.
I
Hey,
should have done-
everybody.
Sorry. Yep.
So I'm lucky enough to know quite a few of you, and I'm the president of the Friends of Adams Farm. And every now and again, Joe's kind enough to hang out with me as well as Lee. And, at times, if I'm lucky enough to get Vic, the traveling Vic.
Only
and
local
others.
now.
But I was part of this meeting to give Lee the toast, and I'm grateful to call him my friend. But when I see wonderful ideas, I want to embrace them, and trash cleanup is epic. Long before I joined Adams Farm as a visitor and then as a committee member, the DPW has graciously picked up 3 trash barrels. And I believe that's a week. And I don't know if, I'm sure we're not paying them because we're a town-owned property, but I always give thanks to the Walpole DPW for being in that committed relationship to keep Adams Farm clean. Joe, how did I do? Did I pass the audition there?
Yeah, you did, Roy.
You're hired, definitely.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Vic.
We've definitely learned a lot in our fledgling stage. We've learned a lot from the Adams Farm committees and the Walpole Trails Committee, and we appreciate Roy's input. Roy vaguely knows how to get to Percival's, but I'm sure we'll.
I'm gonna go there.
I'm sure we'll meet him. We'll meet him soon when we have a face-to-face.
I love that. And I love Norwood Trails.
Thanks for coming. Next up on our agenda, and maybe we can just a real quick. Kate, you want to talk about PTO?
Yeah, so you and I were gonna meet, but I apologize, a busy week the last 2 weeks. It's that point in the year. And so I would love to try and schedule a time for our little subcommittee to meet. In terms of the things that, I have a little checklist of things for us to kind of collect, which one of the things is needing, somebody mentioned having an existing presentation that they had given, whether it was for a PTO or PTA. So I was just wanting to ask the group if someone knew of an existing presentation for this type of a cause. And if you have it, we would love to build on that and repurpose.
Okay. Sue and Vic, that might be something we could use the library presentation for, maybe? What do you think about
Yes,
that?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So if one of you could share something with me, that would be great. And then we can modify that to meet the needs of the PTA, PTO, and kind of young families. So I'm guessing it's oriented around that already based on being at the library. And then just sending around to see who can do which schools. You made a note, Joe, about partnering. And so the question of, did you mean people partnering up to go and give the presentations? I'm sure they'll be via Zoom at this point in the life, in the pandemic. So we can definitely tag team as needed. If people are more comfortable having a partner, definitely pair up. If people are confident doing it solo, that's also great too. So it's just a matter of figuring out who wants to do which school, and then making sure we can get in touch with each of those PTAs to get on their schedule for their next meeting.
Okay. All right, great. Thanks, Kate. Excuse me, I did send you my rough agenda. I did go and meet with a Balch PTO about a year ago. primarily, I think I said this before, but primarily it was a introduction to, and I brought a number of maps for the Haas and Dean property. But it was primarily just to introduce us to them and vice versa, just to let them know what was going on, the things that were coming up as far as CPA projects at the Elliott Field and the State Street lots. Kate, in that email I sent you, I also listed all of the schools, and I know Marcia had volunteered. I think Sue did as well. And I know you had, Kate, you had said the Willett. So yeah, we can circulate that. It's my fault too. We didn't. We'll have a subcommittee. Let's do this. A subcommittee presentation or meeting bullets next time around.
Yeah, that's fine. And I think, what was it? I saw your list of the schools. Yeah, just trying to figure out who can do what, and then making sure that we have a list of the upcoming things so that everyone can be current on what they're gonna share.
Okay. All right. Great. Thanks, Kate. Real quick, next item on the agenda, we've got a number of Boy Scout Eagle projects in play that I just wanted to give a real quick summary of. One project that's already been completed at the Endine Trail, Noah Kearns, who's a Norwood Scout, has completed his Eagle project. He created a series of maps and guideposts mostly through the Endine property. He's also got a big map at the soccer fields at Endine. Essentially, he was trying to put together a guide for the cross-country teams. I think he did a great job. That was completed I believe in the fall last year. Because of COVID, they haven't really done a kind of a rollout of the project, but every time I go down to go walking through Endine, there's always runners, there's always young people who are obviously practicing their cross-country activities. So Noah's project is complete and it's up and running. Next thing on my list is Adam Gorin, who over the summer completed a couple of steps over at Peswick Park over off Sumner Street. So what Adam completed was he got us a number of folks both from his troop and the community. Sue was there, had a number of people that came out and helped him. He cut a short path from the walking trail. It's basically a water easement that goes from Sumner to the Norwood Gardens. I think it's Norwood Gardens, Norwood Gardens housing facility. And so he's not only created that path to the waterfront, but he also cleared a grove that's going to be a great spot. I believe they're going to put in it is conservation land. The conservation committee is going to put in either benches or a picnic table or maybe both in that grove. It's a beautiful spot. It's going to be great 12 months a year. So Adam has completed his part of the process and he's handed it back to the Conservation Commission. The next up on the list, it looks like Holly has signed off, but Ryan Larson, another Norwood Scout, he made a presentation to the Conservation Commission two weeks ago. He does have a design. Actually, Roy is familiar with that and Lee is familiar with it. He worked on the kiosks at Adams Farm, and he's basically taken the design of those kiosks and he's adapted it a little bit, and he's presented, and his presentation was approved by the Conservation Commission. He's going to put in either 2 or 3 kiosks at Endine. I think he's going to put in 2 at Endine and 1 down towards the pool and the playground at Haas. So these will be informational. I think all 3 of them are single panel, which means we'll have room for the map on those. And it's a good, it's a great start. We know that the 3 areas I guess we needed to concentrate on was one, outreach. Number two is the infrastructure like kiosks and benches and things like that to make it a better experience for people. And I think with that project, it's, you know, it'll put us in good spot. We could probably, you know, hopefully there are more community members or scouts or some group that wants to step forward and help us out by building more of these kiosks. But we thank Ryan, and over the winter, he's going to complete his work so that hopefully by the spring, they'll be able to install those. I met 2 weeks ago with another scout who actually lives up in the Father Max neighborhood. His name is Makana Umbe Goliev. And Makana is at Norwood High. He is going to, he's actually got his hands on Ryan's kiosk design, and he's going to build and install 2 or 3 kiosks in the Father Max Germany Brook area. So, you know, they're definitely great projects. It's a good way to kind of, you know, slowly but surely march across town and just help us out with some of these kiosks. So we appreciate those 4 individuals especially stepping forward, but it's all about volunteerism, and basically that's where we are, and we're more than excited if anybody else wants to step forward and give us a hand. So, what else? Brian, you had mentioned working with the Scouts, so I definitely offline, I'll ask you to get caught up with Makana, and maybe you can give him a hand on his projects going forward.
Okay.
That would be great. I'll introduce the 2 of you offline. He's another person who wants to, over the winter, he wants to get rolling on his projects. So, next up on the agenda, the Progress Norwood Walk. This will be if we can pull this off and pull it together, this would be the 3rd year that we've had a walk with the group, Progress Norwood group. It's always been around Halloween, and it's themed, it's costume themed. Basically, wear some costume if you're so inclined, or you can get dressed up as a hiker, whatever you want. And we keep going back and forth to try to arrange the weekend of the 24th or the 25th of October. And I just wanted to touch base with the group. We do have some details ironed out. We've got nothing, no date is perfect, but could I just float the idea of maybe the 25th and it doesn't have to be the afternoon, but are people available generally on the 25th?
Should be.
Is that a Sunday?
I will be away.
I'll be in Vermont. I'll be in Vermont.
Okay.
Be available, Joe. This is Lee.
I should
Okay.
be around.
Good, thank you, Lee. Thanks, Vic.
Yeah, I can also be around and be there.
Okay, thanks, Kate.
24th would work better for me. I'm not sure about Sunday.
Yeah, we've got kind of as usual, we've got a split group because the part of their group cannot make the 24th. And they're since the majority of the walkers actually come through the Progress Norwood group, that we try to maximize the participation.
We'll give it a second. We'll check with the boss about that.
Okay. Good to have, we all have a boss. But I will follow up. We'll try to get that nailed down by tomorrow or Thursday at the very latest, and communicate that. That's roughly 10 days away. It's obviously open to the community, and as we've done in the past, we will do some outreach by Facebook groups, and Progress Norwood usually post it on their webpage. For something like that, we could also use the Town of Norwood's webpage. Sorry, not maybe webpage, but the Facebook page on the town's page. So we'll try to get that nailed down. Generally, if we do it on the 25th, does anybody have a preference, morning, afternoon?
Afternoon would be better.
Okay. All right, great. We do want to try to get back into the role of having a walk a month. Let's see, what else?
Can I just say one thing about the walk too?
Yeah, please.
Because usually in the past 2 times we've done it, we've kind of like met as a group at the start and then all kind of like, you know, combined together and then went off. But now this year, obviously with social distancing, we're probably just going to be a show and go where you kind of just show up and then you can start walking in your groups, your family groups and distancing and all that. So we're thinking instead of just the usual, like we usually have a scavenger hunt for the kids, that like a nature scavenger hunt where you give them a sheet and you give them a bag, a Halloween bag, and they go around, find an acorn, a leaf, and all the different things on the trails. We thought maybe this year too, just to keep some distancing and some activities out there, because we're not going to be able to, you know, have a group thing, that we might, I found some like of my kids' old Halloween books, and I was thinking we might do like some kind of story walk, like that like Murray Duffy Kid has set up at different points, and we might have on some of the trails, you know, like a Sesame Street, a few like Sesame Street pages to read as they walk around too. And so just to have a couple different things going on to keep people separated and out there and doing different things. So like if I can get it organized enough in my head and get the stuff together, I might need a little help like pre-walk to set up some of the stuff. So just keep that in mind. If you can't make it in the afternoon, if you could help out like maybe an hour or so in the morning, helping set up a few things would be nice too. So
I'd be happy to help you with that too.
okay, cool. That would be cool.
Yeah, let me know. I see if I can help you.
Okay.
All right, that's great. Thanks, Sue. The other thing I won't even try to put up the map. We've distributed a map in the past that's specific to this walk.
I can put it up if you want. Do you want me to put it up?
Yep, if you could. Let me go like this, and I'll try to. I'll pretend I'm like half as good as you are at this stuff. But,
Don't say that.
get presented.
You trying to give me permission?
I am.
Oh, I can show the bags too, because we have the bags that we have.
Okay.
Look at that.
Yep, go for it.
All right, cool. So basically these are the bags we give out. We kind of have them, we have our logo with Progress Norwood on it, and we give out these bags to each kid as they come, and they can collect, you know, all their nature stuff with them, and then they can also use them for Halloween. So let me see if I can get the map up too. And then the map, I had the map up. I don't know what I did with it. Let me find the map. Sorry, I had the map up. Now I can't find it. Progress Norwood. Oh, here it is. All right, so here's the map. So we just show the different colored loops and we show the distance and everything like that. And then we have our logo and the Progress Norwood logo. And then we also have in the past put out flags to mark, like yellow flags along the yellow trail, red flags, blue flags, green flags, so that people like can follow the colored flags so they know what trail they're on. We give out the maps. So
Great. Good. Thanks, Sue. Thanks. Obviously, it's going to be different this year. The invitation will be put out, you know, family groups, or, you know, close groups can stay close and, you know, basically go out as a gaggle of folks, but we don't. We just need to make sure that there's enough distance between unrelated individuals and unrelated groups. We will monitor that. All of our all of our events, unfortunately, until you're in like a family unit, all of our events have to continue to be masked groups, masked events. And since it's Halloween themed anyway, it might fit. So more on that. It looks like we're going to try to settle on the 25th of October. And as Sue said, if anybody's available up front, that would be great to help set up and things like that. We will see. We did have coverage the last couple of years. It was great. We had coverage from Norwood Community Media. So we'll ask Mike to put in a good word for us and see if we can get some coverage in that area as well. I'm going to skip. So thanks, Sue. I am going to skip the next bullet item. I'm going to skip that until the next meeting, but the community preservation application, the community preservation fund window is open. So we can, if we're so inclined, we can now submit applications for projects to be completed and funded by the town and completed in joint effort or by outside services as it fits. So I'll come back in 2 weeks and I'll give you an update on that. We do have a couple of ideas that we're working with Town Hall on, and each one of those ideas would be an improvement to an existing trail or possibly doing some research on a future trail. So more to follow there. And if anybody's interested in any of the details so far, you can certainly email me, but I'll add that to the agenda for next time.
So can you tell us when the window closes?
I can do that if you feel free to talk amongst yourselves for 2 minutes. Anybody know any good trail jokes?
I have to say that you're talking about Halloween and everything, and I went up with my friend to, we had a 2 o'clock at the PM in Salem, the Peabody Essex Museum, and you have to register, Jerry, like on anything now where there's going to be a lot of people, you have to register. Talk about a super spreader. It took us an hour and a half to get up there, and then we drove by the Peabody Essex Museum. Parking was $30, but there was no parking. And literally thousands of people, like back to back, belly to belly. It was like, I couldn't believe that this was happening. And it's, 2 weeks before Halloween, and we never stopped. We never pulled down our window. We just drove back home again saying, this is crazy. It's still so dangerous out there with people.
Didn't they have time tickets or anything like that?
Well, we had a time ticket to the Peabody Essex Museum, but there was no parking, number one. I wouldn't get out of the car. There was honestly, there was thousands of people, and these lines that we saw were incredibly long and no social distancing, nothing. It was an incredible sight to see, and I don't know, and I guess it's been like that for the last couple of weeks too, and it'll only get worse. So don't go up there.
It's Salem, it's Halloween, it's a
Yeah,
zoo
it's
every
it's a
single
whole-
year.
It's a whole month event, but I thought with the COVID, it would be much less people there, but I was totally wrong on that.
I've been seeing the numbers on the news on the TV, and they've been showing the massive crowds, and they've even had to make very visible police presence just to control.
Oh,
the
there's a
crowds.
lot of policemen there, yes.
Yeah.
I have to say that, yeah. But it was an incredible scene. I just couldn't believe it.
Well, I've got a couple
Very
of,
dangerous.
I can tell you there's at least some places doing it right. I went out to the Berkshires last week for our 37th wedding anniversary and met up with the kids and stuff. But we went out to places like the Norman Rockwell Museum and Chesterwood, and they were all time tickets. All the tours were limited to like 10 to 12 people. If you wanted to go into a room, outside the room that actually said limited to 9 people. So you had to watch for somebody to come out of the room on the other side before you could enter the room. So,
Well, I
there's some
think that's
places that
more
are
of
doing
a
it right.
happening. and people were just there not to go into anything necessarily, just to be there with their costumes on and seeing all the people with their costumes on. It was just an incredible sight. So many people so tightly packed. It was crazy.
That could be
Look-
scary. Yeah.
Luckily, we're Norwood and we don't do things like that. And
I said, let me go back to my little Norwood.
that's why we're in the green zone these days.
Yeah.
So Lee, to answer your question, thank you for that segue. To answer your question, Lee, the window closes on November 13th. Anyone in the community that's interested, that has any questions, you can send an email to CPA, the letters CPA @norwoodma.gov. And somebody from Town Hall will get right back to you if questions or want to find out. The Community Preservation Committee actually has a webpage on the town website. You can just Google Norwood Community Preservation, and that'll lead you right to the webpage. Or you could just hang out with Sue Bartlett and she'll do it for you. So community preservation.
Joe, I
Yes.
was just looking at our schedule. We have we have two opportunities. Our second meeting in October and then a meeting on November 10th, I believe it is, before that deadline, to get these grant proposals in order to submit. Is that right?
Yes, that is correct. So I'll add that to the agenda next time around. And we can try to, when we send out the agenda, we'll also send out a summary of those projects or ideas anyway. And then maybe at that meeting 2 weeks from tonight on the 27th of October, we can discuss those further. So that's CPA. Yeah, so actually, Sue, can you just go back to the town website for 1 second? Please. So if we go back out one, let's go back out to the list of committees. So for people, have had a couple of people say, how do I find the Norwood Trails Committee webpage? So you can either just Google Norwood Trails Committee, Trails Advisory Committee, or Norwood Trails. And one of the options will be the Norwood Trails Advisory Committee. So what Sue is walking through, the Carol Merrill show, what Sue is walking through is the Trails Advisory Committee. We do have some updates that we need to put in place to the roster right here. Kate, I've already put in a request to add your name on it. Brian, you're on there, great. And one downside, I will, as we're looking at this list, I will let everybody know that John Apria has, unfortunately for all of us, he's moved out of town.
What?
And so he's no longer with the committee, but he said he is going to check in with us periodically, and hopefully he'll come back for a guest appearance. Just a quick note that we will update this. Sue, some of the things that you are thinking about for that Progress Norwood Walk, are they on that Trails activity page?
No.
Or could we add them?
Sure.
Okay. The other thing we could add is maybe if you're thinking of updating the Endine Community Walk map. So maybe we could send that over to Pat and ask Pat. I don't have access to that either. So maybe we can ask Pat to post those two things to the page. That would be great. Thank you. And you also, I cut you short, but I also sent around, we won't go over tonight. We're kind of running out of daylight here. But you, Sue, you had also updated or posted the calendar, our own Trails Advisory calendar, that Excel file. So we did, you can see the asterisk on the, thank you. You can see the asterisk on the left-hand side. Because of this darn COVID thing, a number of our meetings and right in the middle where it says surrounding events topics, a number of those events were obviously canceled as well. But we've done a great job, and I wanted to thank everybody, just talking about updating the upcoming calendar. But I wanted to say thank you to everybody, because we're slowly but surely getting back into the groove here. And we've been able to add some things to the calendar coming up. We're back on a regular meeting schedule, predictable meeting schedule. Tonight we had, as advertised, we had Holly joined us. We did not have a line item for the lead toast, but that kind of goes without saying. I'll just update a couple of these things. We've got the Progress Norwood Walk. We'll update that to say 10/25. We had talked about October 31st as the next item. So I'll get back to the Masha and Sue trail cleanup sign, but we will populate some of those details. But on October 31st, we tried to shake it up a little bit. Last time we had a gathering, and we had a couple of folks from the community come out, which was great. But what we wanted to try to do on the 31st, excuse me, because it's the 31st, and we also didn't want to compete with the Patriots schedule, although cleanup in town is much more important. We wanted to try to see if we could have the Shattuck cleanup from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. on the 31st. And hopefully folks will be available for that. That's obviously open to the community. Shattuck, as was at Masha, you had mentioned, Marguerite, you mentioned as well that Shattuck might have a bigger footprint than Hennessy. It does seem to get a little bit more visibility, maybe some more recent cleanup. But can folks available for the 31st to do a cleanup?
Should be.
I'll be there.
Yeah, I should be there.
It depends on the
Thanks.
time of
Oh, yeah.
the
Joe.
morning. The morning
Sorry.
better.
Okay.
So I can do until like 4 o'clock.
Okay, perfect. Great. Thanks, Kate. Masha?
Yes, Joe, I'll be there the whole time. And I just had a suggestion on number of signs. When I was there today, I was kind of looking around. I think we need 4 or 5 signs. One at 2 over on the Winter Street side, and 1 or 2 on the Nickel Street side. And then I thought maybe we should put 1 actually in the middle of the Shattuck Park.
Okay, great. I see
So-
Sue in the background. She's quickly maneuvering to open up the Shattuck map. I know what she's up to over there. We do want to see if we can get into a regular habit of having these cleanups. I think what you will. Yes, we did pick up some dog food. Yes, we did. Yes, we did. But we wanted to see if we could get some more community participation as well. Maybe if we can put, to Marsha's point, if we can put these signs up in a prominent spot, maybe the folks with the white pickup, the white van will join us. I know that the times that we've been up at Shattuck, people are very excited at anything that we do up there. And we'd love to have the participation. So we'll iron that out as well, but we're thinking of October 31st. Masha, thanks for the thanks for what's next. I think, Kate, we did a great job at Hennessy. And Masha, if we can do the same, and we'll try to get some gloves that make it a little bit easy to pick up shards of glass safely. Brian, you've got a point in there?
Well, I just raised my hand because I don't know if you noticed in the chat, I left a link. I figured out how to upload my photos to Google Drive. And you guys have to tell me if that link works, but I put the photos there since I couldn't figure out how to share them on the screen.
I need permission.
Yeah, I found that too.
So if you click on that link, you need permission. I don't know how to give you permission. Do you have to have a Google account for me to give you permission?
It just sent a request to you, so it's asking you to give me permission.
Oh, okay. So I'm going to get an email or something?
Yeah,
Right.
usually you get an email back.
It'll show up on your Gmail.
Joe, I'm happy to put those signs up, but I don't think I have enough letters of what I had. We might, if someone could pick up some of the sticky letters. Sorry for my dog.
Okay.
I'm happy to put them up. I'll be there again on Thursday this week.
All right, great. Yeah, I'll pick up some of that. I'll go down to I'll put shop local, and I'll go down to True Value and see if they have any down there. Do you remember when you got those, Marsha?
Yeah. No, I had some of my own, but I don't have enough of them.
Yep. Okay. All right. Yeah, I'll go down there.
Sorry for the dog.
Dude, does that permission work?
Yep. So it would kind of look like this. Thanks, Sue. And so we're talking about October 31st, which is a Saturday. We're talking about it seems to fit for at least a few folks, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. So we'll try to shake it up a little bit as far as the date and the time, and just see if we can get folks involved. And the sooner we get these signs up, the better. So Masha will definitely take you up on your offer.
I can update this too to put the actual date and time and location, so then we can use this for social media if you want.
Yeah, sure. Great. Thank you.
So I have a suggestion on publicity on this. Can somebody send this as a, after Sue puts the date and time in there, to our general manager? I know he has a Facebook open meeting on Thursdays. I think that's every week, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
He is it there?
Yes.
We could also get the word out to, what's her name, Mary Ellen Gambon, who's been covering these things for the hard copy paper.
Oh, yeah, right. Okay. All right. Yeah, great idea. Since we're the Trails Advisory Committee working for the general manager, we can ask Tony to put a plug in for us, his committee. So
Invite him to come.
If we give him a
Invite him.
t-shirt, he'll do anything for a t-shirt, so.
okay, then. That's
T-shirt and ice cream.
right. There you go. Good to know. Okay, great. Good idea. Thanks, Lee. So this is great. That kind of rolling on to the next agenda item, although we don't have a date on it. We talked about having a cleanup at the Saint Street lot. So we were talking about doing that sometime in November. The foliage, the leaves are still going strong in the Saint Street lot. So it's really difficult to see what's under brush. Frankly, that's an area that I don't know if it's ever had a cleanup, but considering the fact that it's just newly joined the fold of town property, it's actually fairly clean, but it still needs a lot of work. So just as a heads up, I think we, although on the agenda we said XX for the date, I think we were tentatively thinking about the weekend of the 14th or 15th of November. So that's subject to change, but it would be good if we could do one now and get the community kind of plugged into the fact that that's town property. And then we'd probably try to do another one in the spring, depending on what we find.
Where is the Saint Street lot?
Well, so you're familiar with, I'll say the Boston Beef Store on Washington Street in South
Yeah.
Norwood?
Mm-hmm.
So the three, I know I'll get this wrong, but the three streets that, the street where Boston Beef, they're at the corner of Washington and St. John. So there's St. John, St. Paul, and a saint to be named later.
Joe.
If you go down sorry, Lee, I actually walk on those streets all day, every day, so I should know it, but
It's Joe.
yes.
St. Joseph.
It's St. Roy.
St. Roy. So,
Almost Saint.
yeah, he's the patron saint of something. So
St.
it's
James,
not
St.
St.
George.
John, it's not St. George, it's further down. Keep going. Nope,
The other way.
So, so the reason they call it tenant, so far the name of the property is the Saint Street lot. So
John
thanks,
Joseph Paul.
thanks, Lee. You were just trying to give me a hint. So it's St. Joe's Street. Now, if it was St. Patrick, I would have remembered that one. So, so the Saint Street lot is basically between the cul-de-sac of St. Paul, St. Joe's, and St. John, and the Neponset. So that area right there where Sue is pointing to be basically, it joins that green area right in the middle. The fields at the top are the fields behind the Balsh. And at the bottom, you can see the formerly known as the school bus lot. That's private property that has been retained by the car dealerships. In fact, they're well on their way. The buses aren't there. They've put up one of those probably 6 or 8 foot high white fences.
It
And they're
looks
gonna-
pretty good.
It does look pretty good. They're going to park cars there. But between that property, just abutting that property is the Haas Brook that goes from the Haas Pool all the way down into the Neponset. So yeah, that kind of blue thing there where Sue's cursor is. So basically everything from the Haas Brook all the way up to the ND, the Elliott Park. So that the town bought that through community preservation money roughly about 1.5 to 2 years ago. I had mentioned it before, but that's one of the things that Holly, so when the town bought it, they also, town meeting also approved money to design, do some introductory design work for trails and walking paths. So that money has already been funded. So that's one of the things that Holly is going to be working on going forward. And like I said, that the trail cleanup will serve dual purpose, at least 2 purposes. It'll let us take a first stab at cleaning up the property, but it'll also be a great chance for people to come out and see the proximity to the neighborhoods. And it's really a beautiful spot. It's right along the Neponset and the Haas, and it's definitely got a lot of great potential. It's a small, I think it's 6 or 7 acres, so it's a fairly small area, but you could really do a lot with it. I think it's going to be a great resource to the community and beyond.
Joe, I'll do my best to make it. This sounds exciting.
Thank you, Roy.
It's got nothing to do with it being close to Percival's. Nothing.
Right. Right. Okay. So, so that'll be September, that'll be November something, probably the 14th, 15th weekend, and more to follow on that. So thanks, Sue. So we'll just have to, every time we put out an agenda, we'll try to keep rolling on this calendar and try to come up with some maybe some longer term projects and things that we want to focus on next. On the right-hand side there, the winter 2019-20, that was last winter, and things that we wanted to accomplish. We wanted to try to, we did do a New Year's Day walk on the Mount Norwood. We had about 60 or 70 people come out for that, so we definitely want to repeat, whether we do it there or somewhere else. We also did talk about, although we didn't accomplish a snowshoe walk, but that's something we could also try to do. So we'll try to make that calendar, we'll try to keep it updated and make it visible and basically do our brainstorming in a public way. So, what time is it now? 8:45. I'll ask if we do want to go around on a very quick members minute. If you could keep your comments, if you do have any, to like 30 seconds or a minute, just to kind of whet our appetite for the things that you'd like to do next, or wouldn't it be great if, or community notes. I'm going to start with Craig and Patty, if you could.
I don't have anything for you, so you can skip along.
Okay. Patty?
Same.
Okay, same. Okay. Vic Babel?
I had a couple things, of course. The Boston Skating Club, Jerry Miller and I went down there and talked with the manager, and we didn't talk about the trails thing. We were talking about the 150th reunion or anniversary of the town of Norwood. But should we be starting to talk to him about it? He seemed very receptive to everything. And it wasn't the right place to talk about Norwood Trails because we had another agenda. And another thing is, I lost you for 3 or 4 minutes because my phone died. But this next scheduled walk is going to be in the St. Slot. Was that the November one?
We could call that a walk, but I think we could certainly have a walk as part of that, but I think we wanted to focus on a cleanup.
Okay.
We could.
Yeah, well, my
we could do
thought
a walk
on a next regular walk like we did, across the highway, the Meadow Street, was either across from the Ponce Street, when you go follow the sewer line to sewer water line to the Ponce River and go in there, or reverse it and park at Castle Island and walk reverse style to Percival, because there's not to Percival, to the park off, what's the name of it? The one that Peswick Park, and do it reverse style from, Castle Island. A lot of people haven't done that trail.
And we'd probably do that on a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday before 7 p.m.
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay. Yeah, no, great idea. To your point about Charles River skating, we do want to keep, we don't want to, obviously
It's the
they've had.
Boston Skating Club.
Sorry, Boston
Yeah.
Skating Club, you're right. So the Boston Skating Club has had a successful launch, and I haven't been in the building, but I've driven by a few times, and it's been packed ever since. So we wish them success. We do want to approach them at an appropriate time and try to float the idea that the general manager, I think he's a principal, Doug Zegheib. I don't know, Vic, is that the gentleman you met?
What was his name?
Doug Zegheib.
I think it was a Doug. I didn't get his
Okay.
last name probably, but he was
Okay.
a very nice guy that was loves Norwood and all that, despite what's happening.
Yeah, yep, he's very receptive. I think that's probably something maybe we put on the early spring calendar. We do want to, and we would probably take a more active approach if we do plan another University Ave property walk. We would probably try to get them more involved, or certainly make them aware that we're going to be right next door on the conservation property.
Yes.
But yeah, that's a great idea. Good. Let's see, who else? Marcia, do you have a minute?
Hi. I'm trying to think. Oh, I was walking up at the end Jean again the other day. I actually went reverse. Usually I go down through the water area first and then go up around. So this time I went the opposite way, which was just a different way of doing things. Sometimes when I switch it up like that, it makes it like, oh, I look at things from a different perspective. One thing I noticed that I didn't notice before, which may seem small, but again, I always refer to animals. Walking with the dogs, they have they've cleaned up between the tennis court and the trees, and you can walk down that little strip, so you don't have to go up near the sports fields if you want to head down to the water. So I parked at the parking lot at the school, and then went parallel to the tennis courts down the hill and over to the left. So just quick little observation that I didn't know before that you could do. And
Good, thanks.
that's it.
It's always great when you can go out on any of these trails with an open mind and find new things, and it's all good stuff. Thank you. Sue?
I don't really have anything. I was madly trying to take notes on different things we're doing during the meeting. No, I don't have anything really. Actually, it's the 245th anniversary of the U.S. Navy, so I'm wearing my Navy jacket today. So it has nothing to do with trails, but I'm throwing that out there. So yeah,
Anchors away.
that's right.
Happy anniversary. My folks were both in the Navy, so.
Go Navy.
Marguerite?
I have nothing new.
Okay, thank you. Fran Rush?
Nope, nothing new.
Okay, good. Thanks for coming. Brian?
Let's see. We finally got out to the Indian playgrounds, and that there's a big area back there. I was trying to find it was about August 30th, I think, that we went out there and wandered around, and I'm trying to think if we parked at Codman. Does that make sense, near the ball field?
Yes, and I'm sorry, where were you? Ellis Field, or where were you?
Ellis Fields? Yeah.
Okay.
So I hadn't been to the northern part of the town, but I was like, gee, let's go check that out. And there's lots of opportunity for stuff out there. So
There is.
matter of fact, I think there's a motocross thing out there. I
Yeah,
don't know
there
if
is.
it's supposed to be, but
Yeah.
somebody's made it. Or
Yeah,
what do you call it? Those not motorcycle, but bicycles,
Like a BMX trail. Yeah,
bikes. Yeah. So
that's the Mata Trail. We will have a trail out there someday soon.
and there's also some nice open clearing out there, which surprised me. We walked back along the old access way for it looks like a sewer or a pipe access way, and we found like this big clearing that opened up that I was just surprised. It's like out there nowhere.
That's the best place in town.
Is it? I didn't even
Love
know it
that
existed.
place.
And I was thinking, geez, what a great place for like Cub Scout rockets or something. I mean, I don't know if we were allowed to go back there, but
Yeah,
it's a big field with the trees in the distance, so that you could do something in the middle without,
that
And it's
is-
a great place to snowshoe in the winter.
Ah.
Yeah.
They have had some, it's about 1.25 miles going, and it's a good loop trail. It's all flat. It leads from that parking area at Codman Street by the field. And it does that loop. It pops out at Route 1, close to just across Ellis Street from that nursery. But it leads down. It leads all the way down to Planting Field Brook that comes out, that starts up by It actually starts, Planningfield Brook starts in Westwood, but it meanders its way past the Forbes Mansion and pops back out again in that area. And it's part of the Ellis Wellfield.
Ah. Well, we
Um,
got to a dead end at one point. I know where it was just really overgrown. So I don't know.
Across the stream.
Yeah, I was down there a couple of weeks ago. There are some pretty sizable trees that have fallen. They've actually fallen across the stream.
Yeah.
Marcia, it's not quite a footbridge, but.
Oh, I
um,
got excited there. I was
Yeah.
psyched.
Well, this was like where we ended up. There were like these really tall fens. I don't know if that's what you call them. Just
Yeah.
really tall grass, and then it closed in. You had to stop and turn around and go back.
Yeah,
So
that's the way it
That's
was
at the
about.
water.
Yep.
Yeah, they're
Um,
Phragmites.
Yeah, in the winter you can cross the stream and then go across the flat area there. And there's like a little island there right by Bach. And it's beautiful there in the winter because it freezes. You have to have the water freeze over though.
Sue, if you can zoom in there just for a second, where it's your 1 o'clock, where it says Ellis Gardens Playground. Yep. So that,
Yeah.
so that area just below where it says Planningfield Brook and Ellis, that whole open meadow is conservation land. The area that we're talking about is, you can see the ball fields, just about, 12 o'clock there. Brian's open space and rocket launching center is right there.
I think you
Actually,
could have a big camp out there, and nobody would know you were there.
that's periodically used by different fields. I know my kids used to play youth lacrosse there.
Oh, really?
But it's a just like a lot of other places in town. It's people on one side of the town would never know it existed. But that could be another. Craig and Fran, that would be probably one of the next items that if we could draw a map, that might be a great spot for a map.
Okay.
So, what else? Who else didn't I? Kate, sorry, thanks for waiting.
Oh, yeah.
Tommy?
Nope, no problem. Let's see here. So I'm planning to walk Hennessy this week just to see our progress and just to see if we've maintained some of the glass cleanup. I will be going to buy at least one broom for our upcoming cleanup. And I'm excited for the upcoming Progress Norwood collaboration for Halloween. I really love the Progress Norwood group and those folks. So I'm excited to help in any way that I can to get that set up. And then in terms of my own hiking journey, I have been doing a lot of small hikes around, a lot in Dover, and also in with the Nanette, and then over Borderland. But I'm interested in doing the Bay Circuit Trail over a period of time. There'll be short day hikes combined with friends to try and enjoy it a little bit more. So it's kind of a thing I'm hoping to work on over the next year or so.
Okay, great. Great. I think Lee is still here, but he could certainly give you some good feedback on where to start and how to fill that year up. So, Noon Hill in Medfield is on the Bay Circuit Trail. It's a beautiful spot. I don't know if you've been there or not, but Noon, Noon Hill. It's right down route the intersection of 27 and 109. It's a beautiful spot. So,
Hill Reservation is also beautiful too.
yeah.
I've hiked parts of the Hale Reservation and it's great. And I walked around Nanette Pond. Last week.
Yes, that's a nice walk.
It was a beautiful space. Yeah, a little bit of the trails like grown quite a bit because it's late in the season. So parts of it had really tall grass, but overall I thought it was it was a little short. It's not as like, I was like, you're walking around a whole pond, that would be miles and miles, but it was really nice as a short walk.
And then you have that overlook where you're up on the rocks, overlooking the whole valley. It's very pretty, which is off from that trail. It's beautiful there. It's a great
Yeah.
sunset place.
All right. Great. I don't think I missed anybody, right? Lee Leach did text me. He's got no. I thought I heard him. I'm going to speak for Lee. And he declined his minute, but the only two things I'd say are number one, just thank you all for your brainstorming and joining us, and everybody. Every one of these meetings is a little bit different because it's a different group of people, and you all are great at going out to other areas and bringing back ideas and best of and best practices and what not to do. It's just a way to keep the energy going. And just because it's getting cold, it doesn't mean we all have to go hibernate. If anything, a lot of us like the fresh air, and it gets a little bit chillier, and usually the number of people on the trails declines, but I think if anything, there have been reports that the number of people on the trails is increasing. So I think that can only keep going, and as long as we keep working our magic on just social distancing and wearing masks where appropriate. But I just wanted to say thank you to everyone. The only other thing on our agenda, our next meeting is next scheduled meeting is Tuesday, October 27th at 7 p.m. And between now and then, we will have had our Progress Norwood walk. And Sue has been feverishly trying to take notes up there. So can't wait to see that list of demands that she comes up with. But it'll all be good stuff. So we'll try to use social media as much as possible, and we'll put Tony to work as well. I think that was Lee's idea. But we will try to get that publicized, and it's all about outreach. So again, I wanted to thank you all. Final comments? Going.
Thank you, Joe.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Marcia. I will, given that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I second it.
Moved
And
and seconded.
Tennessee is up 21-10 against Buffalo in the
Okay,
third
let's go.
quarter.
Let's go watch the rest. Thank you to Norwood Community Media for hosting, and go take a hike, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you all.